Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be looking at my training routine. I thought I'd do a video for you guys so you can see what we get up to in our training sessions. I really hope you guys can't hear the dog snoring in the background right now, but I'm doing a voiceover and I'm at home and the dog is snoring away, so I do apologise if you can hear her throughout the video. Most of you guys will know that me and Dello are competing at elementary level and we are training at medium, coming up to advanced medium training now, which honestly is a dream come true. I didn't think we'd be able to get this far, and you know, we came from prelim a few years ago. My little legs never went past the saddle. You know, we started off at the very start, and I'm just so proud of how far we've come together as a combination. So I'm gonna be showing you guys today a few things that we do in training and a bit of behind the scenes really. So yeah, half of it was filmed on my Pivo pod and then the rest, the Pivo decided to die, which is so helpful. So poor mum had to take over the filming halfway through, but it was fine. We got a vlog put together. I was going to do it like I did it last time with the microphone, but I just found that I wasn't able to say everything that I needed to say and concentrate on Dello, if that makes sense. So I decided to just film it and then do a voiceover for you guys so I can deeply explain everything that we do today. Also guys, if you do have any questions about any of the things that I do in the training session, you know, I'm more than happy to answer them in the comments below. I'm also on Instagram, so just drop me a DM and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. So you may have noticed that me and Dello are now in a double bridle, which is amazing. You know, it's a really good thing and it's the next level up, but as you can tell, I am very new with it and it does take a long time to get used to the four reins that you're trying to manage. When I first get on, I must spend about 5 minutes just trying to get them at the right length, because I have a really bad habit of shortening the right curb rein too much and then not having enough contact with the left one. So I really have to manage that. So at the start, I just get on, I just take a minute, look at my reins, make sure they're even before I get going, because I don't think it's fair on Dello if I'm all skew-if. And then I sort of just have a little wander about. I do a lot with Dello and I don't really have like structured exercises as such. I sort of do a bit of one thing and then move on to another thing, because actually Dello, we swear that Dello has ADHD. He is a very ADHD horse. He can't stand still. He's very stallion-like. He was cut late in Spain as a stallion, so he can be a little bit bolshy, and of course Spanish horses are known for their opinions, and oh my gosh, does Dello have opinions. So I have to really keep his brain ticking. He is such a smart horse, and the Iberian horses are known to be the most intelligent horses because their brains just work on another level, and he is so clever that like once I do an exercise once, he's got it and he'll just then do it all the time, and I'm like, no, you gotta wait, babes. And it's just that sort of, he anticipates stuff. So by doing lots of different exercises in a random order, he just sort of can't guess what's going to happen next. So anyway, if you're watching and you think, why the hell have you just gone from a leg yield now to a shoulder in and now to a half walk pirouette, that's the reason why. I literally have to do it to keep my horse with me. So I normally try and start off with, again, it's never a plan, like it is, you know, it depends on how he is, but I normally try and start with some half walk pirouettes. These are really good for Dello. I feel like they just work for him. Obviously he's not the best at them yet, he's just getting to grips with them. They are a medium move, but he is starting to get to grips with it, and I think it's good to train it into him now whilst, you know, we're moving up the levels. So yeah, basically I do that at the start. I think that just engages his hind legs more. It gets him waiting for me a little bit. I find in his walk is very choppy. Dello's walk is definitely his worst pace. You know, he doesn't like walking. He doesn't like walking on the bit. He doesn't like, you know, he's very opinionated, and walk is my hardest pace, and it's the pace that I get the worst marks for my dressage. Luckily there's not a lot of walk in dressage, but anyway, yeah, so I do some half walk pirouettes to get him on the hind leg, get him more with me, a bit more control, try and get him to collect a little bit. Just wait, you know, just give him a minute, give him something to think about. He needs to think about where his legs are going. So that's what I do first. And to be honest, I think they're going quite well. I mean, they could be a bit more fluent, but I think that's just where we're both sort of finding our feet with them. And I do think that I need to be a little bit more weight bearing. I do tend to sit to the outside slightly when we're doing the half walk pirouette, and actually my weight needs to be more to the inside to help him sort of gradually turn the shoulders. A really good tip that I got from an instructor not long ago about them was that don't override them and don't try and panic about the quarters too much. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I've got to ride these quarters. More focus on the shoulders, bring the shoulders around, and the quarters should follow. And ever since I've been thinking about that, it's actually really helped. So yeah, that's sort of what I start by doing. And then I'll also do some things like a bit of shoulder in, a bit of quarters in. We'll do some halts, we'll do some rainbacks, just really, you know, clicking all his buttons and checking that he's actually with me. We're also sort of looking at our walk half passes, which are actually going pretty well. I didn't think Dello would like them as much because obviously it's in walk and he's got to use his quarters, shoulders, his whole body really. So yeah, I didn't think he'd like it, but he's doing pretty well. I find he's better in the trot and canter with the half passes. I'm not really sure why, like you'd find a lot of horses would prefer the walk, but Dello's just different, to be honest. So on average, I spend around 10 minutes in walk, and I think it's really important to spend that time in walk. A lot of people, I find, they rush their horses and warm up really quickly, and I just think take that time, you know, to really notice everything about your horse and you, to be honest. In the walk you can think about lots of things, and I know obviously some horses are better to get going, but also there are so many different things you can do in walk that will benefit your horse more than any trot or canter exercise, you know. And I think it's just so important to spend time in that gait, even though it may seem boring. It is so important. So I do like to spend my time in that gait, and then once he's all good, we get my girth done up, and then we start our trotting. Now the trot is a bit of a weird one because I obviously do sitting trot as my main trot now. I'm really focusing on lifting Dello, getting him to lift from the front end and be a little bit more light and airy, if that makes sense. Obviously, it's not in his nature. He's not sort of born or bred to be like that, but we can train it into them ever so slightly. Obviously, he's never going to be quite as floaty as a warm blood, but he still can lift. And when I say he can lift, I know he can lift because he does lift every now and then, but we are just training it into him. So yeah, when I start trotting, it depends. Sometimes I'll go rising. So today I did go rising because actually today he did feel really tense. Unfortunately, all the horses had been moved into a field that was just the opposite side of those hedges in the distance, and Dello just absolutely hates it because he can't see where they are. So he was very tense today. So I started off in rising trot because I find if I go sitting straight away and ask him to collect, I've just got nothing. And if there's no relaxation, you're not going to get a horse over the back. So I started off in rising, and then I normally try and get him to stretch a little bit. He doesn't often take it. It's very, you know, he's one of those horses. He prefers collection, sitting, waiting. He doesn't like being free and letting his neck go down. He's not that kind of way inclined, which is such a shame because it would be so much easier if he was that way inclined. But anyway, I wouldn't change him for the world. So anyway, if he doesn't stretch, then I will just try and do some loose trotting, you know, get him bending a little bit, and I'll be doing sort of 10 metre circles, 15 metre circles, shallow loops. I do a lot of leg yield in trot. I'll just come down the centre line and just leg yield one way, then I'll stop and leg yield the other way, add some shoulder in at the end. I really do mix it up and just keep it entertained really. And you soon start to notice that they do soften up eventually. obviously they have their good days and they have their bad days, and actually today was not the best day for me and Dello. He was a little bit tense, didn't really want to listen, but I still got something out of him, which was good. So anyway, he started to soften himself up, and we were feeling pretty good together. So I then pick him up a little bit, shorten my reins a tad, get my posture correct, and do my sitting trot. And when I first go into sitting, I do normally have to remind him to wait. So the whole, sort of process of sort of getting him to lift from the front end is all about him sitting on his hind end, and it's something that takes a long time. They have to develop it. They're not going to get it overnight, and you're asking them to basically trot a different way, which, I mean, if somebody told you to stop running the way you would and start running with your legs really high everywhere you go, that would take time for you to build up the strength to be able to do that everywhere you go. It's not an easy thing, and I think that's what we have to remember. And especially for Dello, horses like Dello, who don't have that natural lift and that natural ability, it's obviously going to be a lot trickier. But anyway, I've been very patient with the whole process, and I actually think he's making quite good progress. Obviously, he's still quite heavy-footed, don't get me wrong, but his paces are much more collected, and that's exactly what we need for our elementary tests. So in elementaries, the trot will change from working trot to collected trot, and the collected paces, they just want to see that horse a little bit more floaty, a little bit more on the hind leg, all these sort of things. So that is why I'm training it into Dello, just ready to go up the levels, to be honest. So yeah, he's doing really well. I think his frame is amazing at the minute. His head looks great. His neck has bulked out. His bum is looking juicy. And to be honest, I just can't quite believe how far he's come just as a horse, not even in training. Like, just as a horse, when he first came to us, he was literally skin and bone. He was so skinny and he just looked so poor. And we just, honestly, Mum's the one to thank, because she was the one. Obviously, I was a lot littler then when we went to go view him, so I didn't really know what I was looking for. But Mum just said to me, this horse has got potential and I want to help him. And that's why we brought him, because we knew that he's definitely got potential. And I mean, just look how much he is thriving now. I'm just so proud of him. Honestly, I am so proud. He is like my first project when it comes to dressage and training up the levels, starting at prelim and now heading towards medium. It is just so cool. And it's not like he's not even doing well, he's actually getting decent scores out when he's competing. So it's really nice to see and really nice to show him off. I'm actually thinking about taking him to Royal Windsor Horse Show next year. I want to do a bit of showing next year because he'll be 15 years old. So we'll do the veteran classes. So he'll do Royal Windsor Horse Show. I'd love to get him qualified for London or something like that. And then I want to take him to a few of other dressage shows, maybe get in some different things, try and get to some bigger events as well, which would be really cool. So yeah, it's just really cool. I'm so proud of him and I just love everything about him. So anyway, back to the training. I'm sort of doing, as you can see from the video, I get into canter, I start doing lots of simple changes, again just getting him to sit, wait on his hind leg, really engage him. And as you can see, his canter pace is now, each sort of stride is a bit slower, a little bit more lifted, elevated, and it's just so nice to ride actually. He's really comfortable. And yeah, actually, we are very lucky in the respect that Dello has got a lovely collected gait already. So that does come in our favour. So yeah, we do a bit of canter half pass. That's coming along lovely. Simple changes, I'm trying to put them in everywhere instead of just half 10, simple change half 10. I'm sort of trying to do it maybe on a centre line or across the diagonal, just to, really prep him for when he gets to the changes, which is going to be a massive thing. And you might be thinking oh, do you really want to be teaching him changes? Do you think he can do it? And to be honest, guys, the way he has progressed, I don't see why not. I've obviously got a lot to learn. I've never ridden horses, but I've ridden I think I've ridden 2 horses that can do changes, but I haven't ridden any other horses like that. I've never experienced it. So it's going to be a new rider thing for me, but also a massive new thing for Dello. And obviously we'll get professional help and stuff like that, but I think it's going to be a cool journey. So yeah, that's to come in the future, which is super exciting. He is starting to look at canter pirouettes now, which he's very good at. And here's me sort of training some medium trots in the video. As you can see, they're getting there. They're still, today they weren't as great as they usually are because he was quite tense. And when he's tense, he doesn't fully want to let go and just flick those toes, which is fair enough. You know, if he's not feeling as confident in himself, I don't blame him. But they do sort of, every now and then they do start to flick, and we are getting better marks for them, so that's nice. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with him. I think his progress is doing well. I just do loads in training, to be honest. I really do loads. So another thing I've been sort of trying to learn with Dello is that he is super sensitive to body weight, and he's very obviously clever in the fact that I can sort of think things and he'll kind of get the memo, if that makes sense. So I can be like in walk, and if I think to myself, right, I'm gonna want walk to canter in a second, if I think about it and then breathe, he gets the memo, and that's so cool. But it's a very tricky thing to understand because as riders we tend to override and we tend to think that the horses won't understand what we mean straight away. And actually, if you do give them the chance, they actually most of the time do understand what you're saying. They might just need help with it. And I think it's really important, like that's what Dello's taught me quite a lot about, is the fact that they are really clever and they can do it. And we just have to give them that time, and we have to remember, you know, our thoughts and our body language is so much better than our hands and our legs and everything else. It's really important that we do ride more from our seat and our breath and our mental state, because it does actually really help, especially horses like Dello. You know, they do react to it. I think one thing that I love about Dello is his medium canter. His medium canter's so dreamy. He's really good at it. He just sort of holds his own, and that's why I think he'd be pretty good in the showing world, because I feel like the judges would absolutely love his paces. And obviously he's got gorgeous colourings, and I just feel like he'd do really well. I mean, he's quite eye-catching. Oh, that was a very big leap. This is actually an example of where I didn't listen to him. So I was going in for a simple change and I rode it way too heavy. I pulled on the reins too hard, and I then asked him to go forwards. I remember what happened. I pulled on the reins and then I asked him to go forwards at the same time, and he got well confused and just said to me, no, we're not doing that. So he told me off for that. But that's what I love about Dello. He never wants to buck with me or do anything silly, but he will tell me if I'm getting something wrong. I would say about 75% of the stuff that I've learned is from Dello, and I know that sounds stupid, but he actually has taught me so much. Like, he's so clever that he'll just like tell me by doing a little bunny hop. He'll be like, nope, that's wrong. And then I'll try again and he'll tell me again. And then until I get it right, he then does it nicely for me. And it's just so interesting, you know, to listen to them and what they have to say about it as well. Because in theory, you're teaching them, but they are teaching you as well. We're all learning together no matter what stage we're at. So yeah, I do some medium trots, medium canters. I did a lot of that today. Again, quarters in the canter, trying to adjust the tempo as well, trying to do a bit of collected canter, then a bit of medium canter, then back to collected canter. You know, really challenging those paces, because in those high level tests, there's a lot going on and you need to be able to come back to collected as soon as you want it. And then, you know, you need to know that they're there with you, because if you haven't got them with you, then the moves are just not going to work. So yeah, that's sort of what I've been working on at the minute. Also working on my hands, of course, my body, and I do a lot of Pilates at home. I do sort of gym workouts 5 days a week. I go in the gym for about an hour, and then I do Pilates in between that, and I just really look after my body. The one thing I do need to get though is a physio, because I am a little bit tight. So if anyone's got any recommendations, then that would be appreciated. But yeah, I need to get a physio, and then yeah, that's me all good. But I think it's so important to look after our own bodies as well as the horses. So anyways guys, that is pretty much my training routine. I hope you have enjoyed watching a few things that we do behind the scenes and listening to me ramble on. Hope you guys haven't fallen asleep, and I will see you in the next vlog.